for these to read. So
I need some purple.
So do the rest of us. So it's okay.
if you want, you can borrow them for the rest of your tour. All right. Thank you all for joining us here at the Gilded Page tonight. We have Eliza Knight with her new one, Lost in the Summer of '69, which is totally groovy. And she's in conversation with L.L. Kirchner, so I'll tell you a little bit about both of them. And a couple things. So after the talk, after they're done talking, we'll open it up to questions. And then after that, Eliza will be in the back signing and personalizing books. And then L.L. will be up here. We do have some of her books for purchase if you're interested. And then you can get those signed also. So Eliza Knight is an award-winning and USA Today's best-selling author whose works include Lost in the Summer of '69, Confessions of a Grammar Queen, and The Queen's Faithful Companion, which is so cute, has a dog in it. Her stories take you on riveting historical journeys that cross landscapes around the world. Eliza also published her first contemporary women's fiction novel, Rush Week, last year under the pseudonym Michelle Brandon, and her next release, Trad Wife, is out this August. She's the creator of the popular historical blog History Undressed and is a host on the History, Books, and Wine podcast. She lives in Florida with her family. Well, thank you. And she's in conversation with L.L. Kirchner. She's an award-winning screenwriter and Pushcart-nominated author whose life and work as an expat in Asia became the basis of two memoirs, Blissful Thinking, a memoir of overcoming the wellness revolution, and American Lady Creature, My Change in the Middle East. In 2024, she released her highly anticipated trilogy, The Queen Pin Chronicles, starting with her debut novel, Florida Girls, followed by Vegas Girls and Havana Girls, both in 2025. And they're really, do you like mob history, that kind of stuff?
They're really good.
Her upcoming psychological suspense, The Critic, releases this Thursday,
Wow.
June 18th. With vivid prose and richly drawn characters, Kirchner shines a light on the patriarchal and self-imposed boundaries women face while celebrating the strength of those who dare to break free. And while it's technically considered historical fiction, it takes place in 1995, and I don't think that should
Oh,
be.
no.
So, anyway. Ladies?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Nicole. And Julia, thank you so much for having us together again. There is nothing more pleasurable than getting the chance to sit down with Eliza Knight, the world's busiest woman. Can I just brag on you for a minute? So she has this book coming out this week. She also, just got her MFA in creative writing. I'm sorry that I'm seeming to have trouble with the. I don't want you to have trouble with it. Although we do want to hear this words of praise for you, so let's make sure I'm getting that in. MFA, everybody. How about? Oh, and she has another book coming out under her other pen name in August. Is that right?
Here too.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and she taught a course last fall. She said, I got the master's so I could teach at the college level, and I was like, oh, when are you going to do that? So anyway, so many books, so many good books, and most recently, of course, Lost in the Summer of '69. Have any of you had a chance to read this yet?
Yeah, I started it.
Okay, great. Yeah, well, it's easy to get lost in, right?
Fun in the pool.
That's right.
It's groovy.
That's right. So for those of you who don't know, this is a story about 3 generations of women all in the same family, and they end up going on a cross-country tour, but not together. The grandmother, who used to be the belle of wartime music, was that the title? She sets off first, and she thinks she's just going to go to a music festival, and of course she picks up a guitar, and she picks up kind of right where she left off, with one major difference, which is that she is slowly, succumbing to an early onset dementia, is what they called it then, I believe. And her daughter discovers this and goes chasing after her with her daughter. And it's such an interesting time. The main character is a sandwich generation woman about to become an empty nester. I wonder if that's ringing any bells for the author. And so she's just got all these really modern, contemporary issues that she's facing. But it's in 1969, and it's also just set against this really glorious backdrop of music festivals And like many people, I didn't really think about music festivals beyond Woodstock, but apparently they were all over the country. So can you just start off by saying, I know you always start your books with a question. What about 1969 made the question sort of come to life for you?
So the first question that came to life for me, my father-in-law had Alzheimer's and had recently passed away. It was very quick for him. He got early onset, and then 2 years later, everything was really horrible. But thank you. So we were doing a lot of research, and one of the things I discovered was that music seemed to be something that really helped Alzheimer's and dementia patients. Like when they would hear songs, they would suddenly sort of perk up, have memories again of what's going on, become lucid. If they had been performers themselves, whether dance or music, they remembered those performances. If it was something that sparked a memory, they knew every word to the song. And so that really got me thinking, like, what would happen if, a musician, decides that they're going to go relive their past before they lose the memories. And so that was one thing. Mm-hmm. The second thing was I'm kind of fascinated by, 1950s, 1960s housewives, especially because people are starting to, I think is it still here? Okay. Yeah. People are starting to relive those moments in the trad wife era, which was another book I was writing at the time. So I was like, well, why don't I actually lead into this whole thing. So, but my heroine, Leanne, is like, as you said, an empty nester. And I've been through the empty nest a couple, it's not completely empty, but it keeps getting emptier. Yeah. So my oldest, she has her own apartment after college. She's got a job. She's a big girl. My middle one is in college. And then my youngest is, technically she'll be in college next year, but dual enrollment, so she's still in high school. And she still lives at home, but it's
precocious.
She is, it's like coming down to the wire for me, and pretty soon in the next couple of years, I'm gonna go from 3 to 0, and that is gonna be really, really weird.
That's a hard adjustment.
Yeah.
But also, I think it's interesting. So the younger daughter is one of the first women to be accepted in the novel into Yale. So were you at all surprised to find out that they only started accepting women in 1969? Or 67 or whatever it was.
It was 69, yeah. So I wasn't surprised only because when I wrote Confessions of a Grammar Queen, I did research on colleges so I could figure out where my heroine went to college. Okay. And I knew at that point that women were not allowed in Yale and that it wasn't until 1969. So when I first started plotting this book, I only was going to write Eleanor and Leanne's point of view. And I was going to have the daughter be in the book, but I didn't think I would have her story. And then I was like, wait a second. I think her story really rounds out the rest. And plus, I really wanted to have that multi-generational, see every side of every story in that, era. Plus, being one of the first female students to go to an all-boys, club kind of school, I thought that would be really cool to explore.
Right. Oh, I find that fascinating because she was they're all very vivid characters. And I did want to talk to you about how you kind of got into that, but I just want to pause and say I'm fascinated that she was not included from the beginning because her story is so vivid. I actually thought, did you go to Yale? Was that which character do you relate to the most?
That's such a funny question because I think a lot of people would assume that I related to Leanne the most, being a woman in her mid-40s about to be an empty nester. And while I do relate to the empty nest stuff, that's about where it ends for me. She is what her mother calls her a square. She's not a risk taker. She's very comfortable in her box and doesn't push any envelopes. And so I feel like I mostly related a lot to Eleanor, actually, for pushing those boundaries.
That's the grandma.
That grandma, yeah. I push boundaries, take risks. If someone says that I should go take a road trip somewhere, okay, great. Like, when do we leave? Right now? That's fine. Like, get a sitter for the dog, or can we take the dog with us? Which Eleanor did take her little dog with her.
I love that, by the way.
And then also with Nora, I gave her a little bit of my background. So when I went to school, I originally went to school for 2 years for journalism, and I really wasn't into like the factual writing. I'm not as good as you, but I wanted to write fiction. But my parents thought that changing to an English degree would not be beneficial to me, and I'd end up sleeping on their couch till I was 40. Joke's on them, right? It's my full-time job. But so I got a different degree that would allow me to have a paying job and, do the responsible thing. But it wasn't something that I enjoyed. It wasn't my passion. And so I gave that little bit to Nora in the story. She starts out, seeking a degree out of obligation and then figuring out what she really wants to do.
Yes, we'll say no more about that. But I loved that you also wove in love stories. And so there's a male character in the book, and I hope it's not giving too much away because he appears pretty quickly, and his name is Shep Moon. I loved that name. I'm like, doesn't it sound like he could really be a 60s musician? And so, Shep gets this fondness for Eleanor gets. He catches feelings, as the kids would say today. And I actually liked the way that you handled that, the whole arc of it. Do you want to talk at all about that? Yeah, let's hear.
So I want to talk a little bit first about his name.
Oh, good.
So I heard the name Shep on some teenage show my kids were watching, and I was like, that is a cool name. I love that name. And then I was
like kids?
Yeah, like my kids were watching like some modern show. I don't know. The guy's name was Shep, and I was like, sweet. I'm stealing that.
Old-timey.
Right?
Yeah.
But then I needed to figure out his last name, and in 1969 we landed on the moon. So I was like, that's perfect. And then they had T-shirts that said, I saw the moon, and that was kind of like matching with the history and his name. So, and there's, originally...
there were actual T-shirts that said, I saw the moon. Oh, okay.
There should have been. Maybe
there should have been, right? Somebody, they had Stevie Nicks.
Yeah,
the
seriously.
T-shirts that said K-N-I-C-K-S.
They should have. Where was I?
Sorry, you were talking about
so
Shep
in the original story, and this doesn't really give anything away, I had him be a lot younger than he is. So in this story, he's about 40-ish, and in my original draft, he's like 20-something, and he is really into the older ladies.
Oh.
And my editor was like, no, people won't like that. You got to change it. And so I did follow her direction. And then I don't know if any of you guys watch reality TV. I love reality TV. There's a show that I just binged a couple months ago called Age of Attraction.
Totally with you on that.
Oh, it was such a
We
good
have to
show.
talk about that.
And I was like, I could have kept him at 20-something.
Right. Well, although it didn't go that well for the. Did you watch the finale?
I did, and then I researched all of them, and I found out she used to work for Vogue or something. That's like a whole other conversation. I was obsessed with that show. And
me too.
It was so good.
Well, at first I was a little concerned, and this is something that you didn't do in your book either, which is that they would sort of make a caricature out of the older woman kind of, the Married with Children sort of parody that they used to have. Although I love that woman who played the wife in that show, and now I can't think of her name. But and you didn't do that. You kept it feeling sort of grounded. And I just wondered, like, did you have a relative that had or maybe, I don't know. I mean, you've been in the happy marriage for forever, so obviously it's not her experience.
We've been together since I was 17, so
I didn't even realize that long. Wow.
My whole life, basically. So no, but I didn't want it to be, like you said, like I didn't want it to be like a caricature thing or anyone like getting teased, because it was real, and he honestly reminded her of her past love, and she sort of lives a lot in the past, and so for her, sometimes when she's with him, she's young again, and that was like really important to, I feel like, live that out with her.
Right, and I think that's also a true experience when people enter into that stage where they're not completely in dementia or Alzheimer's, and they're not completely with us either. So that was all just really rendered really nicely. But then also the relationship between the, oh my goodness, the main character, no, not Eleanor, Nora, and the husband. I really appreciated that treatment as well. Her sort of breaking free, but not completely, right? She's not like this unrecognizable character at the end, but she has definitely changed.
Yeah.
And where did that character come from for you?
So, like I mentioned, she started out as a square, and she's sort of stuck in this marriage that she doesn't really feel like she's a part of anymore, or that she's been a part of for a really long time. She makes a reference to not having kissed since a previous, presidential administration.
When Dean is not around a lot.
And he's not. He's working a lot. He's a workaholic. She suspects he's maybe not always faithful. And so she's sort of figuring out, like, where's she going to go? And as she is away from her real life for, a couple of months on this road trip, she's not only learning a lot about her mother, but she's learning a lot about her daughter, but she's really learning a lot about herself and what she wants and what she's willing to take anymore.
Right.
And you see it slowly change, like, with the shoes that she wears, with her outfit, the color of her lipstick. And so it's like little things.
hair.
Yeah, her hair. And her daughter's watching this too, and it's like, discovering, like, oh my gosh, my mom's
A person.
Yeah.
I love the books that you chose for them to they were on tape, right? Cassette
Well,
tape.
they
She was
read
reading
them.
them. That's
Yeah.
right. She was reading them aloud. It was The Godfather. And then what was the other? It
The
wasn't
Love
Scruples.
Machine.
The Love Machine.
Yeah, so the daughter says, I'll come with you on this road trip, but I'm going to read this book to you, and you're going to listen. And the mom's like, what book? And she says, The Godfather, thinking she's going to scandalize her mother. Well, her mother's like, fine, but then I'm going to read to you a book that I enjoy, and it's The Love Machine. And so I think she was a little shocked by that.
Right, but perhaps inspired.
Yes.
And this book is a fun romp, but it's also a really smart exploration of the way that art and music can really be very healing across generations. But if we look sort of at the larger picture of the story of the road trip and the music, was there a time during the creation? I mean, I'm sure you had a playlist. What do you have? Is it on Spotify? Can we all listen to it?
Yes, it's called Lost in Summer of '69.
Okay.
There's an image of the book, so you can easily find it. And it's got a lot of the songs that inspired me while I was writing.
And there's songs that are in the book,
Yes.
that are mentioned in the book.
Yeah.
So this was a fun thing. And I don't know if you're aware, but it is very difficult to reproduce song lyrics in books because of rights and permissions. And of course, we want to respect that as fellow artists with our words. So were there ever any points in time where you had included like lyrics and like begrudgingly took them out?
So I didn't include any lyrics that I had to take out. I do make allusions to, like with the
Yes.
White Rabbit
Yeah.
and all of that. But from previous books, like I wrote a book that came out a couple years ago called Can't We Be Friends, about Ella Fitzgerald and Marilyn Monroe.
That's a great book too.
Thank
by the
you.
way.
And we weren't allowed to include lyrics in there, and it's so funny because so I ended up writing a lot of the lyrics in that book, and my editor like noted, you can't include lyrics, you have to get permission. I was like, I give you permission to keep my lyrics in the book. But so I knew that already, because you can try, but it'll cost you so much
So
money.
much money. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
And then if they're still living artists, they can just arbitrarily say no.
Yeah.
I know someone who was so hurt because it was this band that she had followed for a long time, and she thought they were like buds,
Yeah.
and they were like, no. She was very sad.
Yeah, that stinks.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because a lot of times, like, lyrics like match the mood of the book, and you want to like bring that out, and you're not allowed.
Right. But it is an interesting writing challenge, I think, to recreate that mood with other devices, right? So did you feel like you had to really flex that muscle?
Definitely, because it is a book about music and concerts, and I can't have them be at a concert and not like be experiencing the music. That would be so boring. So it's through dance, through
Yeah.
like movement, through what they're saying to each other.
Mhm. Well, I thought you did a pretty good job of like making it seem like also you played an instrument. I was like, oh, did you play guitar?
I didn't, but my stepmom and I planned to take guitar lessons because she had started, and I really want to after having written this book. I did play piano for a long time,
Mhm.
and my youngest daughter is a flutist, and she's had solos and in bands and things. So.
Oh, that's very cool. It really came across as sort of an insider's knowledge of all of the different instruments and sort of what goes into the roadies and the shows and pulling it all together, and the sort of chaos and also, this seeming organization of it all, right? I love that you had the journalist kid too. The
Joe.
he was fun.
Yeah. I love him too.
Yeah, it's a very rich story that includes so many different moments. It's hard to even describe how much I think research you had to do for this book. If there was something you could change about the book now that it's finished, is there anything that you would change?
No one's asked me that question yet. I don't think so. I think it turned out like exactly the way it should be. If I could, I might have extended the timeline a little because there's a lot of music festivals I couldn't include because they went past Woodstock, and those would have been fun to explore. But I think I ended it like in the good spot because each character is sort of like in a space that you feel hope for them,
Right.
but we don't get the end.
Right, it's not all sort of tied up with a bow.
Yeah.
You're left to wonder, or perhaps argue with your book club about what do you think they did.
Yeah.
So it's not a book club, so we can't have that. I love asking authors that question.
Yeah.
To find out, like, well, so at the end when they parted ways, and it was a little, what do you think happened?
Mm-hmm.
But we won't go there right now. Is there anything else that you want to say about the book in particular before we sort of take questions from people? Because I feel like, do you guys have questions? Or because we could just keep chatting. Anybody have questions?
You don't have to be shy. I'll answer any question you have.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where do you do your historical research? Do you have multiple places that you go to? How does that come about?
So for this book in particular, I read a lot of books. There's multiple books on the concerts during that, amazing time period. I even found, has anyone been to the Antiquarian Book Fair?
Yes.
Oh, it's so great. It's
Yeah.
in St. Pete every year. Last year when I went, I found an old Woodstock. It was like a compilation of pictures and people's firsthand accounts. So that was super cool to find.
Wow.
And it was old from I think it came out in 1970. So it
Wow.
was from that time.
Yeah, I
that was
love
awesome.
that kind of source material because it's
yeah.
so different than things that are written 20
Yeah,
years, 30 years
exactly.
after the fact.
Yeah. And then I watched a lot of documentaries of the actual festivals. I watched another great one called The Making of Led Zeppelin, which was so great. I highly recommend it if you like rock and roll. It's such a good documentary. And if you don't like rock and roll, still a really good documentary to watch.
Right.
So stuff like that. And then I've been to a lot of music festivals myself back in the 90s, and most recently I went to the Reggae Rise Up. So there's no reggae in my book, but there was some rock bands there too, which I was like, this is literally like I'm living in my book right now. Everyone was smoking pot everywhere, drinking, and it's just like just the euphoria of music. So it's just personal experience at those things.
Did you ever go to any Dead shows when you were younger or anything like that?
I don't think so. I went to a lot. So
I don't think so.
I grew up
Interesting
near DC.
answer.
I grew up near DC, and there was a lot of there was this festival called HF Festival, and it was put on by a rock station, and I went to that, and I remember some of the bands and not some of the bands.
Yes, I went to a lot. I saw the Grateful Dead. I went to the Lilith Fair also.
That is one that I wish I had gone to. I wanted to put that as one of the chapters in the epilogue, but it didn't match up. So I did include it in my research and notes just because I think it's such a fabulous concert.
I know, I can't believe, and I mean, well, we could go on about that.
And I wish it was
too.
still going on because it was number of years.
Yeah, it's very interesting what sort of continues and what doesn't continue. Yeah. I mean, I feel like we've really lost something with that era when you went to see bands and it was these sort of, it didn't feel small if you were there, but looking back, I mean, you think about it now, you go to a big stadium and you're basically watching the concert on a big television screen. Mm-hmm. And they're like operas more than rock concerts. I mean, they're costumes and stories and pyrotechnics, right? It's kind of somewhere between a Broadway show and I don't know, a television show. So I mean, what about nostalgia for those sort of eras? It's interesting to me that you didn't go to those when you were that age. Did you? You said you wish you went to Lilith Fair. Did you get kind of FOMO about these other shows that you missed?
I mean, I have FOMO about pretty much anything that I wish I'd been able to do, or a lot of the cool things that were happening. I wasn't old enough, and my parents wouldn't take me. Lilith Fair, what
was your first concert?
Was far away. So my first concert was New Kids on the Block.
You should come to 90s Trivia Night.
I should. I had so much fun.
I'll bet.
It was awesome.
Yeah, that's great. What's the last concert you went to? Was it?
The Reggae Rise Up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You went to a Taylor Swift show, didn't you?
I haven't been to Taylor Swift. I've been to a lot, like Dua Lipa and
isn't she fantastic?
She's really good.
Let's all give a round of applause for that
Yeah.
lady. She promotes books. She had a low-key wedding.
Yeah, awesome.
And
the Trans-Siberian Orchestra I've been to also. That's probably one of like the coolest ones.
Wow,
That's really good.
that is amazing. Right. Is there anything else that's happening for you on this book tour that's nearby, or that you might want to tell people about? They can tell two friends.
Yeah, I'll be at Oxford Exchange later this month.
That's in Tampa.
Yeah, there's a lot. I'm kind of like all over the place for the next 2 months. So, and you can find it on my website if you want to come visit me again.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than the spot question of what events do you have coming up, because it's like, oh, I really should have a good answer for that.
Tomorrow I'll be in Fernandina Beach, I think.
I don't even know where that is.
I think it's near Amelia Island. Yeah, I'm driving partway there tonight. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you do like to road trip.
I do. I love road trips.
Yeah?
We always went on road trips when I was growing up, so that's like my jam. And we do road trips with our kids now, and we actually vote on an audiobook that we're going to listen to, which is part of the reason I had Nora and her mom read the books together, because that's just something we do for fun.
Yeah.
And then we talk about it.
We do that for fun, my husband and I. But growing up, the road trips were famous. My dad would come home on a Friday night, and we'd have pizza, and he'd be like, let's go to Chicago. And we'd pile in the car and drive to Chicago.
I love it.
Yeah, so road tripping is definitely part of maybe that's another reason why it's such a nostalgia, feel-good read.
I feel like so many people used to road trip all the time, and now we don't really do that.
Well, it would be difficult now, unless you had a lot of gas coupons, I don't know. So, did anybody else have any questions about the book, about Eliza, about your next book coming out, Tradwife, as Michelle
Brandon.
Michelle Brandon, sorry.
Yeah, Tradwife is a contemporary thriller / revenge novel. It starts with a body on the beach, and the town is a fictional Florida town, and there's 3 Tradwives that are the main characters in the book, and one is a diehard Tradwife, but she's suffering from some postpartum. The next one is an ex-Tradwife. She's been divorced, so the community has shoved her aside. She's no longer good. And she has a message.
Obviously the killer.
Right. She has a message for other Tradwives in town. And then there's a third Tradwife who, from outside, is the perfect Tradwife that everyone wishes they could be. But she has an ulterior motive.
Dun, dun, dun.
And when is that?
August 4th. And I'll be here. I think I'm doing my launch party here. Yeah. And on August 4th.
Yay. Wonderful. Yes.
Tradwife.
Generally, how long does it take you to write each book? Does it vary each book?
Yeah, it definitely varies per book. So, Lost in the Summer of 69, I started writing out my plot and pitching it to my editor in, I believe it was early December, a couple of years ago. And then as soon as she gave me the go-ahead, they gave me about 7 months to write it. And then, and that was because they wanted it to come out June 9th, which was summer of 69. And I thought that was fun. And they always want a year to do all the editing and promotions and stuff. So that was due last year. And I sort of fell into what my one editor used to call an abundance of Eliza. At the same time I was given a contract for Tradwife, they also wanted it in June. they did end up like giving me a little bit extra time on that one, and that one probably took 3 or 4 months to write. It didn't require as much research because it's not historically based. I did have to research trad wives. I'm not a trad wife myself, so figuring out that culture and then all of that took a little bit. And then I write romance as well. And I can do those in like 2 to 3 months. Scottish romance. Yes,
But I'm sure that you have sort of multiple things going at all times. So you hand a manuscript into your editor, and then you're working on another project, and that makes it seem like there's speed that isn't really there, because otherwise you would just be wanting to edit the manuscript and just hand it to your editor.
Right. Yes, because like you hand it over and then you move on to the next thing. And
right.
I always say like you have multiple things going on at once. You have the book you're plotting, the book you're actively writing, the book you're editing, the book you're promoting. So like I am here today, but this morning I was finishing edits on my romance that's due Friday. So
like you have a romance due Friday.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
How do you write more than one book at a time? I mean, it's like I have enough trouble reading more than one book at a time.
I can't write on the same day. It's too confusing, and sometimes I can't do anything in the same week or month. I just hammer down on one because it's too confusing for me too.
Now, do you have more than one pen name?
I have 2 pen names right now, Eliza Knight and Michelle Brandon.
Wait a minute. Right now?
So I've had other pen names. They're dead.
Okay.
They died. E. Knight was my original historical fiction pen name because I was writing romance at the time under Eliza. And then one of my editors was like, just do everything under Eliza. They're both historically based. It's not confusing. But when I started writing the revenge thrillers, that editor said, these are too different. The characters are too different. The voice is too different. You've got to change your name. So I did that.
Yeah.
And then I also wrote romantic westerns under Annabelle Weston. She's also dead.
Okay, so what is a trad wife?
So trad wife is short for traditional wife. It's basically like a homemaker, housewife. It's a little bit more extreme than that, though.
Google ballerina farm.
Yeah. So it's a lot about.
I never have been one, so.
Yeah, like it's a lot of like bowing to the patriarchy, believing your husband is the head of household. He makes all decisions. He is.
But I think, but you see, I feel like that's very wink, wink, nod, nod, because they will say, my husband makes all the decisions, but I know how to sweet talk him. Like, they think they're controlling the strings in the background while the voting rights are ebbing away.
People too, because they'll go online. Like, there's a huge traditional wife trend going on all social media. And they're like, you can do exactly what I do and just bow to your husband and grow your own food and make your kids clothing, and you don't need to work, except they're working as
creating
influencers,
content,
supporting their families with that content money. So it's sort of like all a lie. So my book is sort of tongue-in-cheek about the fact that it's kind of all a lie.
Yeah, I can't get enough of that content, to be honest with you. And I've seen, we can have an offline conversation about some other books. But anyway, so looking forward to that. But also, in the meantime, you need to enjoy your summer with the Summer of 69. Anybody else, or do you just want to get to have her sign the book? Well, listen, please, a big yes.
Well, I was going to say, do you want to tell us a little bit about your book coming out this week?
Tell us.
Yes. I also have a book coming out this week. It's called The Critic, so it's part of a new series for me. It's psychological suspense novels set in the 1990s. They're interconnected standalones. And this is it. It actually the pub date is June 18th, but I went on a secret sale today, June 15th, so I brought a few copies here if anybody's interested. This is the story of a woman who works as a freelancer at an alternative news weekly until she gets fired over a bad plate of oysters, and then her rival takes her job, and the next thing you know, he's poisoned by ricin that's sent to him through the mail. I don't know if you remember the 90s, all the Unabomber, the sarin gas. There was this terror that poison was going to come at you from somewhere. And women were also very much maligned in that era. You had the Long Island Lolita, you had the way that they sexualize women. I mean, even Jean-Benet Ramsey. It's just so weird, such a weird time. Men are the Unabomber, Night Stalker, Son of Sam. The names almost elevate them, right? Anyway, so she's called the Mail Murderess. Nicole, do you have your towel? I made a special terrible towel. Is anybody familiar with the Steelers?
Terrible towel.
Myron Cope's official terrible towel. Now, I lived in Pittsburgh for many years, so I can do that accent. It's okay. Somebody said, like, you wrote a book set in a Steel City and you didn't put the Steelers in it. And I was like, no, I did not. So it was a fun thing. I made these murderous towels because she's dubbed the Mail Murderess. Get it, like M-A-I-L, but it could be M-A-L-E. So I had to make this.
Which I love. My family's from Pittsburgh.
Her family's from Pittsburgh, so.
So I love reading books, yes.
That is so fun.
I actually got out my terrible towel when I did a picture of the books.
I know. It was awesome.
Would you mind
So,
holding that towel up so I can take a picture? Oh, this, I have one at home. There you go. Thank you. I think this is awesome.
yeah. So anyway, this is basically what happens when the FBI decides you're the prime suspect and you're not sure they're wrong. So that's the twist on this one. Usually with suspense novels, you think, oh, other people. Who can we trust? Can we trust other? Who can we trust in this story? In this one, you're not sure you can trust the narrator.
Is the book set in Pittsburgh?
Yes, it is. It's a Steel City mystery. They're all set in Pittsburgh. You see what's on the cover? It's a map of the Three Rivers. It's Pittsburgh.
Confluence.
Yes, exactly right. And this is
Lots of 90s
where the book's
nostalgia
largely
and
takes
Pittsburgh
place.
nostalgia.
Yeah. Someone said it's Yinzer coded.
You going downtown?
Downtown. From Manny Brothers are there. It's slippy because it's raining all the time. So.
And you probably know what a gum band is. don't you?
Of course I do. Anyway, well, thanks for asking.
I love that we both have nostalgic books.
I mean, first of all, I love your books, and I'm so in awe of your whole body of work and everything that you accomplished with your beautiful family, your beautiful books, your everything, your graduate degree, and it's just fun. It's so fun. Like, isn't that one of your favorite parts of writing? Is like meeting people who love books and people who love writing books.
Yes.
It's the best.
And talking to them.
Yeah.
We have a question.
Oh, yes.
How
Go
do you
ahead.
work it out with your editor when you want one thing kept the way it is, but your editor wants it changed?
So it's always up to the author in the end. They say this is what they like, and you have the option to change it or not. And a lot of the times, the things that they want to change make sense, and I think they make the book stronger.
Painful as they can be.
Yeah, exactly. I always take like a 24-hour mourning period before I do any work because I'm mad and sad, and and then I talk to one of my critique partners or something, and I get over myself and either say, I wanted him to be 20-something, and then I'm like, well, it doesn't really change the story if he's 40-something that much, and whatever. It doesn't hurt me to do that.
Never mind, so he's 20 when we read.
There you go. There you go.
It's a little edgier.
Yeah, definitely.
It can be hard though. It can be really hard. But the weird thing is they're almost always right. The worst part is when they tell you things that you thought, I knew that was wrong.
Yes. Or like, there was I think it was Rush Week. I wrote like 4 different endings for that book.
Oh.
And then I couldn't do it anymore. And so I just turned it in and I was like,
Pick
what
an
she
ending.
says. And it ended up being like not any of that.
Oh wow.
But something I had thought about and was like, no, I don't think that'll work. We're gonna try these 4. So it's nice when you can collaborate like that.
Yeah, it is fun because it can be lonely writing a book because you're thinking and you're having all these ideas, and while you're having the ideas, it feels like this brilliant movie unfurling in your mind.
Yeah.
And then you try to put it on the page, and it's like a broken toilet at a rest station. Which, by the way, I did love that you included restroom breaks on your tour, because I don't know if y'all remember how nasty restrooms used to be on the road, but I mean, it's not gross in the book, but anyway. And then the other thing is when you just start to chip away and make it actually start to resemble the brain thing, but sometimes the brain thing never quite materializes. The brain movie.
Yeah. And this book was hard too because I wrote it differently than I write normally. I have carpal tunnel, and because I had those 2 books that I was trying to do simultaneously, my wrist was killing me. So I was doing dictation. Okay, I am terrible at dictation. So like Leanne's name always came out Lion. I think it must be also partly the way I talk or something. So I would read the chapters and be like, who? What? Why is there a lion in the chapter? This is horrible. This is horrible. But then I would have to edit.
I had terrible carpal syndrome. Carpal tunnel syndrome. That's hard to say. Terrible carpal tunnel syndrome.
That's like a tongue twister.
It is. I should have practiced that for my warm-up vocals. But I did this fall also. That's so strange.
Yeah. I don't know what the deal is.
Overusage.
It's definitely overusage, and I also started strength training about a year and a half ago now, and so I'm lifting a lot of weights more, so I think that's like exacerbating it a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I know what it was. We got our house worked on, and I was staying at these different like Airbnbs while they were doing stuff, and I was in some terrible like typing situations where that's what did it.
You have to have like your whole setup, like your ergonomic keyboard,
Yes.
your mouse.
Yeah, exactly,
when
at
you're
the
on a
right
laptop,
position.
you're like this. I also sleep like this.
Me too.
I do not think that helps.
That's not
at
good
all.
for the wrist. I started wearing wrist braces
do
for a
too.
while.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just got a sleeping desk.
Ooh,
You'll love
My
it.
husband got one. I just got mine Human Sunday.
that's perfect.
You're gonna love it. Anyone else?
Well, thank you so much, and thank you so much
Oh,
for
it's
these
my
amazing
pleasure.
questions. This was so fun.
Thank you.
Thank you for hosting.